Holy shit, it's the NBA Finals. We're finally here. The greatest time of the year, at least my favorite time of the year, is a day away. I'm recording this on June 1st. Game 1 is June 2nd. Tomorrow, I hope I can get this up in the afternoon tomorrow because it doesn't make sense to do this type of video after the finals have commenced. Anyway, I want to get a couple things out the way. I've hit 200 subscribers, so that's lit. Thank you for the support on the off-season outlook series. Pretty damn crazy, the views that I've been getting, the support, the comments, engagement, all of that on YouTube and TikTok, because I upload those summaries at the end of the video. I upload those on TikTok, so if you don't have time to watch 20-minute videos in the middle of your day, you can see a 1 or 2 minute synopsis of it on TikTok. I'll link it in the description. Anyway, we're going to be taking a break from the off-season outlooks. I still want to finish every team before the NBA draft, but I have to get my mock draft out and I have to get this video out tomorrow. So we're going to be previewing the NBA Finals, Boston Celtics versus Golden State. Normally I have a script for all of my videos. This is going to be a bit different. I don't have a script at all. I'm pretty much going to be talking off the head. So I'm just going to be talking about things that really stand out to me. For one, the health of the Warriors. So the health is a bit in question on Iggy, GP2, and Otto Porter Jr. I'll do a quick fact check on their status for Game 1. So according to this article, Gary, Andre, and Otto all took part fully in practice today, as of May 31st, according to Steve Kerr. So, I mean, that's got to be a good sign. I'm pretty sure those guys are going to be available to some extent or another, which helps them a lot, because the main thing that Golden State has going for them is their depth. They have a lot of lineups that they can play because they have a lot of guys that Steve Kerr is comfortable playing in the playoffs. In the most important parts and games of the season, Steve Kerr has a lot of players that he can roll out, especially off the bench. We saw Moses Moody, who played like how many games in the regular season? He played he played 52 games in the regular season, and he played 9 games in this playoffs. A lot of them, or some of them, were garbage minutes, but he was getting some actual minutes in the Dallas Mavericks series, especially after Otto went down and Gary Payton went down in that Memphis series. So, I mean, that just goes to the trust that Kerr has in a rookie. The other rookie is Jonathan Kuminga, who's had a lot of great signs in this playoffs, especially hustling on the defensive end, getting out and running in the transition. Damian Lee didn't get the most consistent minutes this season that he's seen in the past, but he's getting a lot of shine, or not a lot of shine, but a lot of opportunities. Same with JTA. The point is, when most teams roll out just an 8-man rotation, the further they get into the playoffs, Golden State will probably do so, but depending on the type of play style that Steve Kerr will want to run for a 6-minute stretch, he can have options regarding who he wants to throw in there. Let's say he wants to throw in more of a playmaking power forward. You have Nemanja Bjelica. Let's say you want to throw in more of an athletic, dynamic, rim-running power forward. You have Jonathan Kuminga. If you want to throw in your highest IQ guy on the defensive end and in playmaking, a bit of both, you have Andre Iguodala. If you want to throw in more shooting at the 4 position, you have Otto Porter Jr. So he has all these options at his disposal because of the amount of guys he trusts in his second unit. So that's one thing that stands out. I guess I'll just talk about the entire Warriors side first. Another thing that stands out is their wing depth. We know the Celtics are a wing heavy scoring team with the dynamic duo of Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. So this kind of works in the Warriors' favor, as they have a plethora of guys that they can throw at Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. We know how elite of a defender Andrew Wiggins has turned into. Draymond isn't an elite on-ball defender, but he's a good or great on-ball defender while being an elite off-ball defender. Klay Thompson isn't what he was on the defensive end, but he's still a very savvy wing defender. And then off the bench, you got the likes of Gary Payton, Iggy, a big body like Otto Porter, or Jonathan Kuminga. Like, they have options and enough bodies to throw at Tatum and Brown. None of them are really going to get tired. And then the third thing I want to talk about is Stephen Curry. Obviously, I cannot not talk about Stephen Curry. A big thing that goes for him is that he can't rest on the offensive end, but he's not guarding like somebody who's going to be lighting him up on the offensive end when he's defending. Like Marcus Smart, great defender, damn good playmaker, plays really hard, but it's not like Steph Curry has to waste energy running around screens to guard Marcus Smart off ball. Marcus Smart isn't going to torch him in the isolation situation. Point blank period, Stephen Curry doesn't have to exert a lot of energy on the defensive end guarding Marcus Smart. But on the offensive end, it's going to be a really, really interesting dynamic because we know the Celtics are going to prioritize stopping Curry, and they probably have one of the best players to match up with him in Marcus Smart, like I said, who plays extremely hard. I think he was Defensive Player of the Year. He was Defensive Player of the Year. He's matching up against Curry. You know he's going to try to make things a living hell for him. So that's probably going to be the most entertaining like one-on-one battle. Steph Curry on offense against Marcus Smart on defense, especially if Curry's still able to get open off ball. Like, there's not many people that can keep up with Stephen Curry off the ball because his movement is so elite. And then I want to see if the Celtics try and target Stephen Curry in terms of trying to get him switched on to Jaylen Brown or Jason Tatum. And I want to see how Stephen Curry responds because his defense has grown over the past couple of years and he's taken on the challenge of guarding switches. Now moving to the Celtics side of things, what stands out kind of is their lack of depth. I talked about the Warriors' depth and how many players Kerr is confident in these playoffs. I won't say it's the antithesis for the Celtics, but it is quite different. So how the Warriors have like 13 or 14 guys that Kerr is comfortable and willing to throw out there for extended periods, Ime Udoka does not have that same luxury. He probably has 9 guys that he's comfortable throwing out. I know Nesmith has played 10 games in this playoffs, but he played them out of necessity. But yeah, Ime Udoka does not have that much roster flexibility. It's pretty much always going to be the same 9-man rotation. Tatum, Brown, Horford, Smart, Grant, White, Williams, Pritchard, and Tice. Another thing to talk about for the Celtics is their advantage inside. They have the size advantage, especially at the big man rotation, because they have Robert Williams and Al Horford. Both guys are 6'10", 6'11", and we know how athletic Robert Williams is for being a 5-man. That is a big advantage that the Celtics have over the Warriors, because I know Looney plays solid on the defensive end at the 5 position, but he's limited because I think he's only 6'9", and we know how you could barely put a paper under his shoes when he jumps because he doesn't have the biggest vertical. So I want to see if the Celtics are able to take advantage of that. Is Horford going to be able to be more aggressive and get some low post looks because he's going to have size advantages? And is Robert Williams going to get a lot of run in the pick and roll and a lot of opportunities in the pick and roll going against these, well, Kevon Looney being a smaller center with not the highest vertical, and then Draymond Green being 6'7", and just the Warriors playing small ball a lot as a whole. Not only with the Celtics centers, but with the Celtics wings, Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, how often are they going to be able to get to the rim? And are they going to prioritize getting to the rim knowing that there isn't really a elite shot blocking presence down there on the Warriors' behalf? And then the final thing to talk about is, Jason Tatum, really. And to some extent, Jaylen Brown. Like I said, the Warriors have a lot of wing personnel that they can throw at Tatum and Brown. And at the end of the day, they're both, mainly Tatum, they're just going to have to be elite shot makers and scorers. That's what it's going to come down to. And not only shot makers and scorers, but playmakers too. Because we've seen it in multiple games in different series where either the Heat or the Bucks prioritize double teaming Tatum early on. Same thing with Jaylen Brown, but mainly Jason Tatum. They prioritize doubling him and getting the ball out of his hands, and he turned the ball over a lot, and the Celtics lost games because of that. So this is kind of a thing I want to talk about on both sides. How often are the Warriors going to try and blitz Tatum to get the ball out of his hands? Is Tatum going to adjust early on? Because he has to do so early on. If he doesn't, it's going to be too late, and the Warriors might win this game or might win this series in 5 games or less. And if the Warriors do blitz Tatum and he's able to make the right passes, are guys like Grant Williams, Derek White, Al Horford, Peyton Pritchard, are they going to make their open shots? Is Marcus Morris going to be able to make his open shots from three? And not just shooting the ball, are they going to make the adequate and correct decisions, whether it's driving and kicking or driving and forcing a foul, etc., etc., etc. So now getting to my prediction, I'm going to say that in 6 games, the Golden State Warriors are going to be NBA champions. I think the depth is going to be a big thing because they have so many bodies that they can throw at Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. I think they're going to blitz those two and double them a lot. They're going to cause some turnovers and they're going to speed up the game, and we know how elite the Warriors are when they speed up the game and they're playing their up-tempo brand of basketball. I know the Celtics defense has been one of the best in league's history, but they haven't played against a team like the Warriors thus far. They played against the Heat, who like to spread the ball around, but we saw how clamped up they were. They haven't played against the Warriors, who have so much movement. They have a plethora of shot creators. The Heat had Jimmy Butler. He was going nuts. Tyler Hero was really disappointing. Bam Adebayo was really disappointing. Kyle Lowry was compromised. So that team, though they are a team, like scoring team, they don't like to have one guy do it. They like to spread the ball around. They ended up having to have Jimmy Butler carry this team on his shoulders because everybody else was either underperforming or compromised. That is not the case with the Warriors. They have Stephen Curry, who's one of the most selfless superstars in the league. He's able to drop 25, 26, 27 points per game without being ball dominant. They have Klay Thompson, who can drop 20 points per game without really dribbling the ball more than 15 times in a game. Andrew Wiggins, though he likes to create offense off the dribble, he's turned into a player that fits right into the Warriors system and makes offensive decisions immediately. He'll get his times to isolate or operate from the high post, but he's just a really, really, really efficient third option in the starting lineup that doesn't stop the ball. And then there's Jordan Poole. Kind of a similar thing to Andrew Wiggins. Jordan Poole loves to isolate. He has a really deep bag in terms of ball handling, but he also fits right into this offense. He can catch and shoot. He flies off his screens, and when he has to ISO, he can ISO. And then in the middle of all that is Draymond Green, one of the best passers in the league, one of the smartest passers in the league. He directs almost all of the traffic for this team on the offensive end, and off the bench they have decision makers like Iguodala, who should be coming back, and Nemanja Bjelica. And then Jordan Poole's also improved as a playmaker as well. So this offense is just 10 times better honestly than Miami because of all of the moving parts that they have, their system, and this isn't something that the Celtics have really seen in their playoff run thus far. And it's just the crazy thing that also works in the Warriors' favor. Stephen Curry does not have to have an elite series by any means for the Warriors to win this game, because he's so much of a decoy. The gravity that he takes up on the offensive end from opposing defenses, when teams try and game plan Stephen Curry out of the game, there's so many other players that are just going to be more efficient. You have Klay Thompson, who's getting wide open looks. You have Jordan Poole getting wide open looks. Shooters off the bench, Bjelica. Gary Payton's been a good three-point shooter in the playoffs. Otto Porter, Jordan Poole, if I hadn't said his name already, Damian Lee. And then you still have guys that can operate on ball in Andrew, Klay, and Jordan Poole. This is really going to be interesting to see how Ime Udoka can use his defense to go against the Warriors' offense, which is just unlike anything that Ime Udoka has seen thus far in his playoff run. I'm not going to say that's guaranteed that the Warriors are going to win this, because it's not, because the Celtics at the end of the day still do have one of the best defenses of all time and a very savvy head coach, a very savvy first-time head coach in Ime Udoka, and they still do have two elite two-way wings in Jaylen Brown and, of course, Jason Tatum. If Jason Tatum can be the best player in the series, then of course the Celtics have a chance of winning this series.
There's no way that this is real, man.